and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Flappcast, Behind the Funny. Today, we're going to talk about cars. Hey, how do you double the value of a Hugo? You fill it with gas. And that's one of my worst car jokes ever. But please welcome to our amazing show today, of course, my co-host, Joshua Snyder. You know him as the booker of Flappers and the guy who rocks back and forth during this show. And then, of course, the lovely Laura Hayden, our resident physical therapist and comedian. And also we have Paul Moomjean, our site director for Flappers University. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
You guys like my joke?
Yes. No, I still drive a Hugo.
I haven't heard it in a decade, so it was nice to have the flashback joke.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I liked it when Richard Janney did that joke in 1985.
Well, yes, I did dig up an old one. So there's so much to talk about cars, and the reason that we have that topic is because we have a very special guest who's joining us today, and I don't even want to banter amongst ourselves because I'm so excited to get him on here. You may recognize him. He played Chief Needles Nelson on the FX series Rescue Me. He's been the co-host on the US version of Top Gear. And of course, he currently has his own podcast called the Adam Ferrara Podcast. I bet you can guess who it is. Please welcome Adam Ferrara.
Yeah.
Even his name sounds like a car.
There you go. You can't start your video because your host hasn't stopped it. What? All right, turn this on.
Oh.
I told you she used a magnet. Hold on.
Is Amanda joining us? Hi, Amanda.
I think Amanda is in the wrong route. There we go.
Live television, folks. Anything can happen.
So, Adam, I'm going to
Yes.
ask you to start your video there. Now
I'm doing the best I can. Is that? Did you ask? There
There
it
we
is.
go. There it
Oh my
is.
gosh, you look so much better like that. I mean,
Thank you.
looked great before. Your name is amazing, but why does your name sound like a car?
It doesn't sound like the I would be the expensive car. The A, pretty much a subcompact.
It's a Ferrari.
Ferrari, yeah. It's, you know what I am? It's like a knockoff Ferrari. I'm like a Rolex with a J on a card table down on Canal Street. Hi, Paul. Hi, Josh. Hi, Laura. Hi, Barbara. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh,
Flappers is one of my favorite clubs, and I'm glad you guys are on my screen.
and
Likewise.
I was
When I-
noticing. look
When
at
I
that
say
back-
likewise, though, I mean you're not a club, you're a person, but we're glad that you're on our screen as well.
Thank you.
All right, Josh, you're on fire today, man. Let's go.
I'm not on fire today.
Didn't the
Hey,
government
everybody.
decide that clubs are people too? Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, nobody knows when we can. Well, we're opening next week. Forget it. Don't use candles. What? Yes. Don't eat spam. Can't do it. Yeah, everything causes everything. So I stopped looking about when we can all go back and congregate again. But I do. One thing I still do, like every day, I do as carefully as I can. I go for my Save My Marriage walk.
Oh,
Because I got to get out. I got to get out of the house. So I go down, I put on the gloves, I got the mask, and I go down to Whole Foods. And because my wife even says, we need pineapple. We don't need pineapple. She just wants me out of the house. So I go down and I take my little walk here in the neighborhood. I go to Whole Foods and I saw a guy snap in the cereal aisle. He's FaceTiming his wife, and I just hear him screaming, "They don't have it, Laura. They don't have it." All right, look, see? Now you can see everything I can see. It's a freaking pandemic. They ain't got, it's like a Whole Foods in Havana. I don't know what you want from me. They don't have organic bran flakes. You're just going to have to push it out on your own, honey. I'm sorry.
oh, that's fantastic. Your wife.
I love that their wife's name is Laura. That's
Yeah.
a pain in the ass name right there.
No, they don't have it, Laura. I could, and you don't want to laugh. You actually can because it's through your mask. So my breath was so bad in the mask yesterday because I ate some tuna fish. I put the thing on. I went out. I was breathing. I dried up the flu. My corneas almost cracked because of my own stink ass breath coming up out of that mask. the little vents on the side. They don't do anything. It's all coming up into my face.
They actually
kind
look
of-
like, have you seen them they look like gills when people are breathing. Like it looks like we're going back in evolution, like the little gills open when people are breathing. It's crazy.
Aqua mask. That's what we need.
I just make lots of
I'm sorry, Barbara. Go
I
ahead.
just make lots of excuses with my mask because I know the breath, I think it's my breath, but I kind of blame it on the plastic of the mask. I'm like, oh, this can't be my breath. It must be the mask.
I thought I'm like I'm breathing out of my ass. That's how bad.
Just like a turtle.
Yeah, this smell. Turtles breathe out of their ass?
They can, yeah.
What else don't I know, Laura?
Let me tell you.
She has lots of,
Wait a minute. How are you privy to such information?
I love trivia, and I have
Okay.
a lot of useless information in my head.
Ass breathing turtles. That's I don't know where you would use it, but it's something I would have wished I knew.
I had a patient a long time ago for a long time who was the docent at the Los Angeles Zoo, and I learned way too much about animals, particularly animal husbandry.
Can I just say, if you learned this from this person, I think this person learned too much about animals.
I was concerned about the amount of stuff he knew about animals, but you spend 20 years at the zoo, I guess you pick up a few things.
How did that come out? What were you helping him with his knee going, okay, flexion, attention? You know, turtles breathe out of their ass. I know, Doug. Clenching. How did
He
it
liked
come
to
up?
share all kinds of weird animal facts, particularly animal husbandry. He found that entertaining to see if he could shock me with it. So I'd
Did
be
he
like,
even show you like a video of a turtle's birthday party going, now watch
it's a little
this. Watch him
early
blow
for
out the
dolphin
candle.
rape information, but thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob, for sharing that with me.
so I'm just going to let Adam host the show. You need to be
I'm
our
sorry. My ADD is raging. This is why. See, Barbara, this is why I got to go for a fucking walk.
Tell him about your beautiful wife, Allie. Hi, if you're watching, or
Hi.
maybe she's not
watching.
'cause she's
She's not
out.
watching. She's like, go in the garage, talk to your friends. Leave me alone.
But when she comes to the club with you, I want to talk to her all the time because she's so sweet and fun. And
Best thing ever happened to me. That was the big break, was the wife. And you guys, I know you guys have seen my wife. Paul, you haven't. Laura, you haven't. But she's beautiful. And for those of you watching, you're going to Google it. I know what you're going to think. Does he know he's batting over his head? Yes, I do. Okay. You know
Can
what
I
else?
ask a question about your marriage? Question about your marriage.
Yes, the chair recognizes Joshua from The Office.
Because I'm always fascinated about this with couples as someone who's never going to be in one. What does she help you decide what to wear? Does she dress you, or do you dress yourself? Or is that
She doesn't help. She more or less just points and picks stuff out because I'm no help to her. She's like, there's a certain threshold I'll meet before I go out, only because there's cameras around. You know, it was because she found a couple pictures of me on the internet. Like I didn't know there was going to be cameras at some event, and I wore a hat, and she's like, "No, you look like a paper boy who suffered a head wound. You're not allowed to wear any of this shit anymore." So,
Adam,
yes, sir.
Adam, I Googled, and I want to let you know that the very first thing that comes up when you type in your name is wife right after it.
My
What?
wife.
Yeah, it's not comedian. It's not Adam. It's not Adam Ferrara, comedian. Adam Ferrara, podcast. It's Adam Ferrara, wife.
Yeah.
That is the first thing.
Well, look at her. She's beautiful. And Paul, I know she loves me because there's no money.
Well,
you know what's funny? When I Googled Adam earlier and it said net worth right after it.
So,
And then it said-
see, I'm not kidding. There's no. There's not enough money to fake love for all these years.
How
So
long you been married, Adam?
8 years.
All right.
Yeah, we've been together. Over. We've been together 6. I'm doing math. We're together around 12, married around 8.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit, if I may, about your early stand-up career.
How can I help you, sweetheart?
Well, and I'm curious if you met Allie in a club, in a stand-up club.
No. Actually, this is the first time I took her to do stand. We knew each other, and she was producing a movie, and I was staying at you guys know Jack Kenny? He's a great writer. He created the Book of Daniel on NBC. He ran Warehouse 13 on Sci-Fi. I met him because when I was a kid, I started. I had a recurring role on Caroline in the City, and he wrote the role. So every time I showed up, he made money. So he was always happy to see me. So we became friends, and I was coming out here for pilot season, and his husband Michael was in New York, and he said I was going to stay at the house for a week. He's like, "Do you mind house sitting? You're responsible. The dog likes you. You can use the cars and stuff. I miss Michael. I want to go back to New York." I said, "Great." So I'm house sitting. My wife was producing a movie. The director wanted to meet me, so I had to go pick up the script. So I invited her to the house, and I called Jack, and I said, Jack, is it okay if I have a girl over the house? And Jack said, honey, tell her it's your house. Because it's a mansion. It was up by the Greek theater. And I said, how am I going to explain all the pictures of the gay men and the theater memorabilia? How's that going to help me close this deal?
It's like Birdcage.
Yeah. So she came over there. Don't add. I'm talking to Nathan Lane next week. I'm very excited. See, the ADD fucking spinning.
Did you do stand-up first before you were an actor, or?
Yes, I was a stand-up. I started stand-up July 13th, 1988 on Long Island. It was a Wednesday night at the East Side Comedy Club. Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa, Long Island.
Yeah, Long Island, yeah. You know Long Island. It's a Native American word. It means near the mall. So I came out here. My first gig, my first acting gig, Barbara, I think was 93. It was on a sitcom called Flying Blind with Tay Leone and Corey Parker. And I got a guest star, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. They're like, Adam, hit your mark. I go, yes, sir. No fucking idea what he's talking about.
What's my mark?
Stage left, stage right. I went, oh, yeah, I got no idea what's going on. So I figured I better get some training. So I studied acting, and so I was a stand-up first in answer to your question.
And so when you did that club in New York, were you actually touring?
No, I was a kid. I went down to an open mic night on a Wednesday night, and I made the mistake of telling my mother. And she told everybody. My mother was the original Twitter. She told everybody. So everybody showed up, and it was a sold out on a Wednesday night with all the people from my neighborhood. So I had to be good quick because there's no mercy. I'd be cutting a lawn. They'd be like, hey, funny boy, I bought 2 drinks. You suck. They would just unload on me. So I had some stuff written the first time I did it, but because I knew everybody in the audience and somebody said something, I just went off for 5 minutes, a lot of inside baseball jokes because I knew everybody. So I was killing with this stuff just, but then I realized I can't travel with these people, so I better write shit. So
remember one of the first jokes you told?
I don't remember. I think it was about my Uncle Frank's ear hair because he was there. I think I said something. No, his nose hair. I said, yeah, when he sneezes, it looks like a party favor.
Oh.
Something like that. But yeah, I remember the club because I was there for years. It was like the club on Long Island, and I started with Kevin James and Gary Valentine and Rock Rubin, who they all went on to work on Kevin Can Wait and King of Queens, and we used to hang out at the club during the day, and it was a little community we would write together. And we took some duct tape and we put a strike zone on the back of the building, and we used to play wiffle ball out in the parking lot. And that's what we do. We'd write comedy, play wiffle ball. That's how important comedy was. I think I had this conversation with Josh before too about when you're a kid and Paul, you teach, you see the hunger in people, how your whole life is focused on stage time. I've been doing comedy since '88, and it's still, I build my entire day around the set that night. I can't eat now because I'm working tonight. I can't do this. After the set, I can do that. So I'll give you an example. We were driving up to the Giants are playing Buffalo in the Super Bowl, and Kevin James and I got a nooner at Jefferson College. And you guys know a nooner's the worst friggin' gig you can get. You're in the cafeteria during lunch, and you're annoying people.
Slamming plates and
they don't want you there. You're annoying people. So, but it was a gig. And we didn't have enough stand-up time to do shows by ourselves. So we did it together, and then we did the improv games afterwards, and we could fill an hour and 20-minute show that way. We're Kevin's Hyundai. We're driving up the thruway on a Sunday. It's Super Bowl Sunday. Jack Buck is calling we pull over to hear the call for the wide right call. And there it was, wide right. And we're in a snowstorm, and that stand-up was more important. A shitty gig was more important than the Giants being in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Notice how he mentions the car they were driving.
It was a Hyundai.
That. Yeah. Well, you ended up being a co-host on Top Gear.
Yeah.
But I've heard you say a few times that you don't know that much about cars.
No, I do. I can't fix them. I know enough about the cars I like. But if you're going to get into the technical stuff, here's the thing. I love cars because of my dad, because my dad could fix anything. He had that if then go to statement, that whole mechanical ability. We found out at a very young age that my job was to hold the light. That was the peak of my mechanical ability. But I tried, and I wanted to be like my dad. I remember it was going really bad. There was an old Cadillac my dad had, and I was trying to fix something on it, and oil was spilling, blood was spurting, wrenches were falling. It wasn't going well. My father was watching me in the doorway. He had a Lucky Strike. He was smoking a cigarette in the doorway, just looking at me. He put out a cigarette, came over, he put his hand on my shoulder. He said, son, you're going to have to work at something the rest of your life. This ain't it. We'll find something you can do, but stop. You're only going to hurt yourself. So,
By the way, I love whenever you do your dad. That's
yeah.
outright.
Yeah.
Yeah, that did sound odd. It's funny. I have a dad car story. My dad was an engineer, not a car guy, but he thought he was a car guy. And one time in college, my little Honda Civic, the little brown Honda Civic, 76, I think, and the battery died.
Right.
And instead of, and it had something to do with the starter, the charger, instead of getting a new battery and getting a new starter, my dad rigged up a device with a long cable that when the car would die, I would press this button and it would spark the car on. It was the most ridiculous thing. And I was like, can't we just go get this fixed? And my dad was like, no, we have to fix it this way. This is how it works. If you're driving along and you stall, you just press this button and off you go. And I would be in, I'm not kidding, I'd be in the middle of an intersection. My car would die. And I'm like, I press the button. And
did it work?
Yes, it worked.
Was the button hooked up to a kite and a key?
Oh, I got so frustrated with my dad though. He never wanted to fix it conventionally, right? So, and I think he didn't really know anything about cars, but he knew about engineering. You know what I mean?
He figured it out. I can't fix them, but I love them. And to me, I know why I love them, because my father would take the time to explain the cars to me, and it was a bonding time with my dad. So it was very important for him to pass that information on to me. But he wouldn't explain like life and stuff. I was on my own. You know, the cars I could, you know. It was the thing. It's like my father would always tell me, you know, he loved me, but it was always end with a chore. He's like, listen, a man's got to believe in something. All right, you got to stand up for what you believe in. If you're the only one in that room standing, all right, now go take out the garbage.
Can I just say that I'm frankly a little distracted because a little while earlier you mentioned you were making fun of your uncle's ear hair, and I have a lot of ear hair that I'm not sure people can see, and now I'm suddenly self-conscious.
Nobody can see it. Trust me. You should be more self-conscious about the rocking back and forth, because I think you're fucking a pencil sharpener there in the office, but I didn't want to say anything.
I've noticed that Josh has been playing with his ears the entire podcast since you started that.
Because I'm worried about the ear hair.
Yeah.
No one can see it. You put on headphones. Who's going to know?
Ah, the secret. Was your dad lucky enough to get to see you do Top Gear?
No, that's the thing. He passed away right before. Yeah, he got me. He saw me do stand-up. He saw me. He came to the Tonight Show. There's a great video of my mom and dad. I put it on one of my DVDs when years ago, kids, we had DVDs.
The day.
And I had the extras on there, and my mom and dad came for the first time I did Letterman. They came in, and there's an interview on YouTube of my mom and dad. He's like, and I got bumped, and my father was pissed off. So my mom and dad are sitting there going, I never liked them. Never liked them. That made me laugh. The place is cold. I'm still, you have company over your house. You got a freaking cold place. Never liked him. And you know what? And when he bumped my son, he really sucked. Fix your teeth. You got the money. My father tried to sell Don Rickles a kitchen at the Comedy Awards. I'm not making it up. My father did kitchens and bathrooms. My mother would design everything. They worked together and they lived together, right? So my father would do kitchens and bathrooms. So I get Barbara, you remember the American Comedy Awards they used to have?
Yeah, you were nominated twice.
Twice, yeah. So the first time I fly my parents out, I put them up, and you do the red carpet, and you walk down, and I'm doing an interview. My mom and dad are over here I'm doing an interview with Entertainment Tonight, and they're doing this over the velvet rope, and I'm going, it's an honor just to be nominated. And my mother walks in the middle of the shot while we're on TV. I said, it's an honor just to excuse me. Oh, hello, Adam. We're gonna go in. We're with the pub. I have to pee. Father and I are going to go in with the publicist lady. We'll see you at the table. Joe, come on, I got to go. And she leaves. I'm standing there with the what the fuck look on my face. My father walks right through the shot too, like, look at all these friggin' people. So the after party is at they used to have it at the Comedy Store, right? So we're at the after party, and my father was getting older. You know, the first year I was nominated, so he was moving a little bit slower. He had a little gray in his hair. So I look over, and he's all animated. Paul, he's like doing like, you know, you see him, and he was young again. I'm like, that's my dad. And I don't see the guy he's talking to. I come around to say hi to my father. It's Don Rickles, and he's trying to sell him a kitchen. He's talking about redoing the kitchen. Like, Don, you got to spend the money on the appliances. You get the Sub-Zero. Trust me. It's better for your resale, and you want good countertops. That's the first thing people see. And Rickles is like this. Oh, yeah, I need that. And that's when he got all animated because he was working. That was his stand-up. That's the energy he plugged into.
And wait, did he sell the kitchen?
No, he didn't sell the kitchen.
No, but Don Rickles was probably thrilled someone was talking about something else besides comedy.
Yeah, it was
like finally a regular.
Yeah, when he died, when my father passed away, it was during the winter. We couldn't have the Italians, Catholics. They lay the body out. They invite everybody over like it's a friggin' grief buffet. It's the most ghoulish thing you ever want to have. So it was a snowstorm. It was February, and we were way out east on Long Island because my mother moved out there. My father passes away. We were still shooting the last year of Rescue Me. Dennis called me. He couldn't come out. Lenny Clark came all the way out. First of all, my father's wake looked like every cop, every fireman, whoever made parole was there. Just a bunch of gindaloons all packed into this thing. And we hear, and I'm on the receiving line, stand next to my mother. We hear, "Where's Adam? Where's Adam?" And you hear, "That's Lenny. That's Lenny Clark." He showed up in red golf pants. It was fucking great. He made everybody laugh. He came over, gave my mother a big kiss, crying, and he just broke the tension. He's that kind of guy, Lenny. He's a force of nature.
I was just thinking it was probably a good thing that your dad didn't do Don Rickles' kitchen. Could you imagine after the kitchen's installed, Don Rickles like, "You countertop, you look like a piece of crap."
Yeah.
He'd just be insulting everything in the kitchen. Come on.
Yeah.
That would suck to do that.
He never got to see me do Top Gear. He got to see me. I would watch the English version with my father because he liked cars, but he got to see me do stand up. He got to. So one year we're doing the Rescue Me comedy tour, right? We did it for 3 years, and I think the premiere was at Radio City. So we're playing Radio City Music Hall. My name is up. It was fucking great. So I told my father, I said, "Pop, Radio City." He goes, yeah. "Your mother says you're also doing the Mohegan Sun Casino. We're going to go to that one." I said, "But you're going to come to the show?" He goes, "Oh, yeah. I'll come to the show. Unless I get on a rush, but I should be there." So he comes to the show, right? He's like third row center. He had a big shock of white hair. My dad was a big man. My dad was a water heater with a head. He was just a big guy. So he goes, "You going to do the Moses joke?" One of my favorite joke was I had an old joke on one of my specials where Moses through the desert and people losing faith. "Hey, where the hell is he going?" It's a little animated bit. So I do the bit, and it gets a big applause break. And I hadn't done the bit in years. I remembered it. And I said, while the applause is going up, and I said, "See, Pop, I did the bit for you." And I told everybody, I go, "That's my dad right there." And everyone, the spotlight came down, and he waved everybody. So then cut to, he's near the end, and I'm hugging him. And, he ain't got long to go. And he said, "You know what a good night was? Remember that night I came to see Mohegan Sun?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You did the Moses joke for me." I said, "Yeah, Pop, I did." He goes, "Then you said hello to me. Everyone in that arena was looking at me, and I was looking at you. That was a good night." And then he farted.
I was going to say, then he said, "Take out the trash."
Yeah. Now take out the garbage. But yeah, he got to see that, Barbara. He got to see enough of what I was allowed, what he gave me a better life than him, what I was allowed to achieve because of the support he gave me. So I was glad he got at least that. Because he would tell me for years, my dad, he goes, "I ain't your friend, I'm your father. My job is to give you a better life than the one I had. So pay attention because I'm tired and I'm running out of money."
I don't want to rain on the parade, but my father never came to watch me wrestle in high school because he said it was way too boring and he knew I was going to lose. So there's the opposite version. For all the people watching who are like, "I wish I had that," but you had my life. So.
God bless you. And I rest. I went to practice once to see if I could make the team because I was like, what's the 101, that weight class?
Probably 103 back then.
Yeah, the 103 back then. So and I was light and so they brought me in and I got hit in the balls and I'm like, I don't need this. I'm taking the Spider-Man thing off, take these stupid ear things, and I'm getting the hell out of here.
But now you're still wearing the ear.
Yeah, and I have on Spider-Man underoos.
Yeah.
Can I just say there's becoming a running theme on the Flappcast where every week we have to have a wrestling theme part of the conversation.
Last week, it turns out Craig Shoemaker was a wrestler, and we just talked wrestling the whole time. They look so bored, Adam. You have no idea. And then we would go to a new topic, and then you come back and say, "I'm picturing Paul in a singlet right now."
That's funny.
Bringing it back to cars and my father, because my dad split when I was very young. My oldest brother was kind of like your dad. He could fix anything. And my oldest brother turned 16. He could not resist a car in the Auto Trader that was $100 and ran. So we went from no cars in my house to a junkyard. We had 16 cars in the front yard at one point in time, all at various amounts of working and non-working. Like we had a Buick Skylark that you could only get into the car through the trunk. I'm not even kidding you. We had a Fairlane that wouldn't start, a 63 Fairlane that wouldn't start unless it was over 64 degrees. You had to press on the gas, hold the gear shift up and to the window at the same time at a certain temperature. It didn't like precipitation either.
Yeah.
We had a Pinto that you could only enter on the passenger side door. You have to jump over the hump. I mean, I'm telling you, we had 16 of the craziest cars ever. We had a 63, I think, Ford station wagon. I don't remember the name of it, but you could see it. We called it the Flintstone car because it was rusted through the bottom.
You can see the floorboards.
Yeah, you can see the road through certain parts of it. And we're like, all right. So it was just like, and then we had a Baja that you had to push down the street. It was like a family activity.
Oh, hell yeah.
So my mom's like, you have to get rid of some of these cars. We went from no cars to 16 in the front yard. It looked like Sanford and Son out there. My mom's like, this is horrible.
I miss the days where you got exercise and started a car.
Pop stardom. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, pop the clutch.
We got a clutch because we lived on a hill. This is easy.
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
I think one goal I have is I think it's important for me that whatever car I'm driving should be a reflection of who I am. And so the car that I want to share with everybody right now, if you'll indulge me here, I think this should be my next car.
Josh. Oh no. Oh, Solo.
If you could just make it red, then it would be perfect, Josh.
It only has one seat in the car. You can't quite see it from this angle, but there's literally it is a three-wheeled one-seater.
Sure.
And it has hair coming out of the speakers. So my first car I got, there was the first car that ran and the first car I got. The first car I got was a 70 Coupe de Ville that my father turned into a plumbing truck. Because
Nice.
my mother burnt out the back seat with a cigarette. She came home, she flipped out the Benson and Hedges out the cigarette, and we thought it went out. Didn't. Went into the back seat. Next day we woke up and there was smoke, black smoke just billowing out of the car. And I remember looking out the window and I go, Mom, we don't have a Pope yet. She's like, what? And the car's on fire. And it was that acrid smell. So my father and I got in and put the found a fire, put it out, yanked out the back seat, took everything out of it, and it stunk. And we realized that once we took the seat out, you could get lengths of half-inch copper pipe from the trunk through where the back seat's gone now, through the two driver's seats, and they would rest under the dashboard. So that became, the car still ran, so that became the plumbing truck. So we would load pipe into the truck that way, put the tools all around it, and I took my road test in that car, and my father went, listen, don't slam on the brakes because the torch is going to hit you in the back of the head, and they'll probably fail you for that.
My first car was a 1970 Dodge Polara that I called
Big.
No, it was green, reptile green, gross.
No, big car.
Big. I know you could park a Pinto on the hood easily.
Mhm.
Anyhow, it had a Kevorkian door. No matter how hard and secure you made the passenger side door, at any given moment, it would just swing right open. And everybody is like, and it's been seating like, don't lean against that door. We're gonna lose people, which is how I lost my DMV instructor. Actually, no, I'm just kidding.
You did?
No. But I did have to tell him, like, don't lean against the door. And he's like, why? And I'm like, just don't.
Not a good, I got a thing. It's not you, it's me.
I need you closer.
Okay, okay. Cars you were most embarrassed of. That's what I want to hear. So
Mine, my first one, the first car I got that I worked. My grandfather. Apparently, I was on the dead relatives inheritance program in my family.
I had that too.
Yeah. So when
Family
it
heirlooms.
came my turn and my grandfather passed away, I got an '81 Dodge Aries K,
Nice.
which is crap with a K.
What's the one from what's the car from Wayne's World? The big, it's not the Gremlin, but the rounder version.
Oh,
no.
not the Pacer.
The Pacer, but a station wagon version.
I would love that. You know what I would do? I would cut that in half. I would put the back of the Pacer into the wall of my garage, and I would fill it with fish.
Yeah, it wasn't even the regular Pacer. It was the station wagon, so it was even
Very rare.
Really
what
big
happened
bubble.
to station wagons? I mean, that's what that's the car I would
Minivans happened.
Really?
minivans and SUV.
Yeah.
My mom would drop me off in grade school in a green, like you said, Laura, with nothing underneath, green station wagon. I just was like hiding. It was.
Yeah. Well, you remember the station wagons they had the door opened. It opened down when you put in like packages and stuff, and then it opened up this way for personnel.
Yeah, exactly.
We slept in the back. So
Did you sit in the back seat looking out the back seat that faced the other way?
Yeah.
Isn't that great? It's just like, oh, I'm living my life in reverse.
I always thought it was weird that those station wagons had the wood paneling. Like they're trying to fake us into thinking it's made of wood. Was that a thing?
Oh, yeah, the Buick Roadmaster was great. They all had them. Well,
Yeah,
it came from World War II because all the Woodies were World War II because we need the metals for planes and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Those
all
are
the
beautiful
Woodies in
cars,
the
the Woodies,
40s, all
all the
those
Woodies.
cars, yeah, they were all called, we got wood.
Big surfer car.
Yeah, oh, that'd be great.
Beautiful car.
Yeah.
Josh, what was your most embarrassing car?
Well, so when my dad's great aunt died, he inherited this brown Cadillac that looks like a car that should be only driven by 80-year-old Jewish women. And my mom and he was like, I really like this car. We should keep it. And my mom and I.
Cadillac Yenta.
Yes. And I felt guilty because we didn't want to be seen in it. It's
What was it? What year was it?
It must have
Did it have that angled trunk? That ugly angled trunk, the early 80s?
No, it wasn't that old. It was like I think it was maybe an early 90s.
Okay.
It was before they got.
It wasn't the little Cimarron, was it? Italian.
No.
Guys that like Cadillacs call that the C word.
No, that I remember when that came out, and I thought,
terrible.
Cadillac. That's the
terrible.
Cadillac. No, it still had the fins, but not as pronounced as because before that we had a car. I think it was a sedan DeVille, late 90s, and we were driving up in the mountains, and we were rear-ended by like a Ford Escort or something. And to us, it was like a little bump, and we turned, looked, and the Ford Escort was totaled.
Totaled, yeah. My father, we had a 77 Fleetwood Brougham that my father used to pull the boat up to Lake George. We pulled our boat with a Cadillac. How gindaloon are we? We lived on Long Island. We used to go on vacation at Lake George, so you got to go up the thruway. And that's why I love playing Albany. Albany warms my heart every time I play Albany, the Funny Bone up there, because when I was a kid, it was the place we had to get to because we would leave Long Island and my father would turn in the back seat and yell at us, "We are not peeing till Albany." So we got all the way up to Albany, we could pee. So we had the 77 Fleetwood Brougham, and we pulled the boat up there, launched the boat, and we would camp on an island. You ever see Italians camp? My mother's hanging cheese and salami in the trees like it's a deli window. My uncles would come visit us. It's like summertime. We're on an island. The boat on the island. We're running around in bathing suits. My uncles are there in 3-piece suits. They're fishing off the dock in 3-piece. Like, hey, I hope I don't catch your witness.
So I'm from Long Island, as Adam and I were.
We discussed this before. Where are you from? Maspeth, right?
West Babylon, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, but I still got a grandmother in Queens, in Maspeth. But we drove that green station wagon. We migrated out to San Diego and traveled cross country. It took 2 weeks we lived in the back of that disgusting green station wagon. And everywhere we'd stop at a KOA, that's what happens is my mom would hang the food outside, like whatever meat or cheese or
Yeah.
what is that? Is that a New York thing?
I have no idea. I just remember that. I remember the veal cutlet sandwiches. My mother would make veal cutlets, and she would pound them. She would get out all the aggression because she's like, I could have been an opera singer, but I married him. You know, so it all came out. They were really thin. She fried them. Then she put them on the bread. And then they were paninis before there was a panini because she would smash everything down to get it into the cooler. So whenever we stopped somewhere, she would have to empty the water out of the cooler because the ice was melting. So we got a half-frozen veal cutlet sandwich, just eating it standing up in a parking lot. Standing like this way because my father had to pee and the bathroom was locked and he was behind a tree and we weren't allowed to turn around.
You know what's funny is when I finally got to buy my first car, I thought I was so cool because I bought, it was, I think a 92 Dodge Shadow convertible.
Sweet thing.
That was a hot car. And you know what? It died like literally 3 years later. It blew up on the freeway.
You got to call your father with the magic button.
I know. This one just completely died. It just, the entire.
And can I just say, Barb, that's probably the best Dodge Shadow I've ever heard of. If it lasted 3 years.
Yeah, you win.
It was great.
That's
I thought,
impressive.
I have a convertible. This is cool. I didn't realize it was like not a cool car, but.
Now,
No.
I bought a car for Paul. What do you drive?
Well, I currently drive an Audi A5 convertible.
Ooh,
All right.
It's very nice vehicle, and
That's
I found
good.
my dating life has improved since purchasing it.
That's great. An Audi A5 convertible. Barbara, you're paying Paul way too much.
I prefer
No.
it, not
Let
Audi.
me tell you a funny story about that. My brother works at the Lexus dealership in Oxnard, and they had to get it off the lot 2 years ago. It was one of those things where they're like, whatever you do, the next guy who comes in, if they make the credit, give it to him. So I got this. It's a 2011, but it's the same model they use for modern, like, 2020s. Well, here's what's funny. I walk in, I said, I have zero money to put down. I have a Hyundai that I still owe $9,000 on, and they're like, listen, man, we got to get rid of this car because they're like, Lexus made it very clear. Other luxury cars need to be off the lot by this date. So I got the 2011 Audi convertible for about $12,000.
And you dumped the Hyundai with
And I
$9 grand on it?
The Hyundai was like completely falling apart after like 2 years, and that was a brand new one. So I ended up dumping a new car for the older one, but I got a better car out of it, and it's been more or less pretty good. I mean, I've had one time where the check engine light came on where I had to get something fixed, but that was it.
God bless you. I bought my car I have a 1990 LS400, which was the first year Lexus came out with it. It's built like a tank. I bought it with 98,000 miles. That thing will go 250 easy. The one thing you got to do is around 98, you got to change the timing belt because, you don't want the wife driving it and going, it's dead. So I changed the timing belt. I murdered it all out. I took out the amber lights. It's all Euro lights. I put a chin on it. I dropped it. I murdered out the wheels, and I drive around like the Yakuza. That thing will run forever.
Surgery.
Yeah.
I've driven about probably 10 different cars, a lot of them new, a lot of SUVs. The only car that I've ever had any mechanic or Jiffy Lube person ever be impressed with was in 2016. I bought for 1 year, I drove a 99 Saturn. Okay, remember the Saturns?
The three-door one with the little three-door one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's the best part. I take it to the Jiffy Lube for the first oil change. They pop the hood. All the mechanics are all looking at it going, this is the cleanest car we've ever seen. They call me out of the lobby. They go, is this your car? And I'm like, well, I just bought it. They go, look at this. They said, they don't make it like this anymore. The Saturn.
That's the best. I stopped laying under the car to change the oil. I used because I never had a filter wrench, so I would just shove a screwdriver through the filter and spin it off that way, get oil all over the place. So I'm like, you know what? For $60, I'll bring it to Jiffy Lube. They shame the shit out of you. They come over with the air filter, like, look at this. Look at this. How did this get like this? You're gonna put the people you love into this car? I'm disgusted with you.
But the
You have to
Saturn.
change this immediately.
So I now have an electric car, which unfortunately, I guess, Paul, is a Hyundai. So we'll see but it's the Hyundai Kona, and it actually gets 270 miles to the charge, more than the Tesla, believe it or not. But here's what's weird is I had to go in for a service and I called the lady. It was right before COVID happened. And she says, all right, electric cars, there's no maintenance really. Like there's nothing to do.
Not a lot of moving parts.
She calls me or on the phone. She says, come on in for your oil change. And I said, I have an electric car. Is this something new? And then she was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just, blah, blah, blah. And I go in, same thing. She's like, oh, you're here for your oil change. I go, does anyone know about the car? You're literally a Hyundai dealer.
Yeah, no, they don't know. And the thing about the electric cars is 300, the batteries for 300 miles are great. And then after that, they can't go any further than that. Hydrogen, there's a company called Nikola, which is the greatest name for an electric car company, because that's Tesla's first name. That's just like a fuck you, Elon. Yeah. Like if I was going to start a car company, I wouldn't be Elon Musk. I would be Adam Toilet Water. But the hydrogen stuff after 300 miles, they're getting into trucking. Nikola's getting into trucking, and they're like anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 pounds lighter than the batteries they need to run an electric truck. So if they can get the hydrogen stuff, and it's 50 cents a mile with a load for the truckers to do to make money. So you're looking at $5,000, 50 cents, that's $2,500 you're making on a load on a hydrogen truck. So that's the way I think it's going to go. And anyone who's thinking of investing, I don't know shit, so I don't want to hear it. Don't take my word for anything. I'm just a guy that likes cars that read something on the internet, sharing it with my friends.
Do you guys remember when people who had electric cars about 13, 14 years ago were like shamed and made fun of?
Yeah.
Okay. I worked in a writer's room with the people who went on to write for the Big Bang Theory and stuff. And there was one writer who had an electric car. And they would always be like, oh, do you need to go get the sundial out of the car?
Yeah. The Honda Insight probably is what he had.
Sundial, so you know when the sun's going to let your car start?
They shame me now. I'm down here. I bought from Top Gear, I bought the piano car, which is a 70 Buick Electra 225. Big.
Oh, we had one of those. 18
feet 5 inches. I have 3 garages at my house. It doesn't fit in any of them. So on the show, just to illustrate how big the car was, we all had to do something stupid. So Rut had an Impala. He put a boat in the back of it, just in the trunk with the boat sticking out. Well, I put a piano on the roof, and I had a piano player sit on a stool, and he was playing the piano on the roof because my radio broke. And Tanner had a 74, I think he had a 74 Lincoln, and he had a guy parachute out and land on the car while he was driving. So I bought the Buick. So I took and what happened was we were supposed to drive the car down the railroad tracks. And I told the director, I said, I'm not doing it. He's like, why? I said, because I'm buying this car. The guy cut the front spring, so it's riding low. It's going to rip the whole bottom of the car out. I'm not going to wreck the car. He's like, well, that's the show. I said, yeah. He goes, you'll lose the challenge. I go, fine, I lose. He's like, well, what are we going to do? I go, I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm buying this car. So on camera, if you see the episode, I say, I'm not wrecking the car. I stop and I did it. So I bought the car, took the piano off. I had him redo everything. And because of the electric cars, I live in Santa Monica. Everyone's got electric cars here. And that deuce and a quarter I got is huge. It's got a 455 in it. I split the exhaust, so it's. And I drive up to the coffee joint, and they're just like, they're like, you don't care about the environment. I said, yes, you don't care about people. You're driving an electric car. It doesn't make any noise. You can kill a blind guy in that thing. All right?
You got a Buick Electra. Did you put some hydraulics on it? That would make it LA.
No, I didn't bag it. Yeah.
You know what's funny is I was with 4 of my friends in the electric car, and we had just gone out to lunch on a Sunday, and we park in downtown LA, and we literally they're kind of joking, wow, the car's so quiet, it's so quiet. Right. And I go, no, isn't it great? And it doesn't smell, and it's quiet. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, well, did you turn it off? Did you do beepity beep? I'm like, yeah, I did.
Beepity beep.
We go in 2 hours later, we come back out, the car was on the entire time.
Dead.
That's how quiet this car is.
Yeah.
And literally, they're like, told you so. I'm like, I beepity beeped it. You know, I honestly left it on for 2 hours.
That's a technical term. Beepity beeped it.
Beepity beep it.
That's almost that's a Seinfeld riff right there.
That's in the owner's manual.
Beep,
Did you
beep,
beepity
beep,
beep it?
I beepity beeped it. Oh no, what is that?
Oh, there's the beauty.
That's my
right
deuce.
there.
Wow.
Nice. I
Yeah.
love your high tech sharing of your.
Yeah, I got, but Brad's sharing screens. I mean, Josh is sharing screens and shit. I got nothing.
Where's Allie when we need her? Come on.
But that's my wife. This is how, technically, this is how anything gets fixed in my house. Honey! Honey, I'm going to hit this thing with an axe and let you get down here. I got nothing. So I'm in the neighbor. I'm driving the Deuce, right? And I'm coming home, and they block it off. It was during, there was a charity function. The Secret Service was here. It was Obama's reelection. So the Secret Service was here because some guy over down the block was having, you know, he was raising money. So I turned the corner. This giant Ving Rhames guy comes up to me. He's like, street's blocked. I go, I live here. He leans in. He's got the thing in his ear. He leans in like this. He's looking at me. He's like, Wildcat, deuce and a quarter. I went, it's a deuce and a quarter. He's like, you can go. Hey, let me go.
Why that particular car?
What?
What about that car? Why did you buy that particular car? Was there?
I'll tell you exactly why I bought my grandfather had that car when I was a kid. He not that exact car, but he had that model. He had the 4-door. And when that car came down, I looked at it and I'm like, I got that rush back when I was a kid. I go, oh, I remember this car. I remember the lighter. Yep, the light is right where it's supposed to be. The clock. And I opened up the trunk because we painted it for Top Gear for camera. I opened up the trunk and I looked on the inside trunk lid. It was the same ugly green my grandfather had. And I'm like, this is a sign. I got to buy this car. And it only had 42,000 original miles on it. That's less than $1,000 a year. And we bought it from a drug dealer in San Diego. And the guy
So there's no
died.
blood on it then.
Yeah. Well, the guy died. Actually, it was a drug dealer's grandfather.
Okay.
Because the guy, his name was Soledad. So the name of the car was Soul Daddy. And the guy, because I saw it on the registration, and the guy said when the show bought it, the guy said, my grandfather said, I got to take care of this car, so please don't wreck it. So when they told me that story, I'm like, oh, I need this. I'm Catholic. I got enough fucking guilt. So that's why I bought the car, because of that story and because of my grandfather.
It's funny you mention that because the Lexus that you have, that was my grandfather's car.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. He got it the first year that Lexus came out, the LS 400.
Yeah. It was so new. Like, if you look at the trunk, there's no badges on it. It doesn't say LS 400 on the right or Lexus on the left because they didn't know what they were going to call it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this thing's a tank.
Yeah.
Josh, what did your grandfather name his Lexus?
I don't think they didn't do the name thing.
No?
No.
I have a feeling all of Adam's cars have names. Am I
Yeah,
right?
the Lexus's name is Milo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The guy that owned it, his name was Milo. He was an older dude. He was like 89 years old. I bought it when I was up in San Francisco. I saw the car was my wife's neighbor. So I bought the car. He goes, yeah, my father Milo owned it. I said, we'll call it Milo.
My first Lexus I called Lexi. Kind of boring.
Really? Lexi with an I? And did she dance to put her way through school?
I kept the pole in the back. It's an SUV.
What's
and
your...
a stage and lights and sound.
My first car was a 1976 lime green Plymouth Duster, and you could hear it. Like, I'm from Simi Valley. The people of Moore Park and Thousand Oaks could hear it.
Mm-hmm.
That thing, my neighbors hated me every morning because I had to start in the morning and I had to warm it up for 30 minutes. And it would literally die on the on-ramp to go to school every day. And my brother refused to get in the car because he always thought we were going to die. And so this is 1998, and my car became known as the Holy Roller. So all of Simi High knew it as the Holy Roller. It couldn't fit into a single parking spot, okay, because it was too wide. And it won best car in the yearbook, which beat all the really nice, rich, fancy cars. So all the rich kids hated me for like 3 days. It was just, but then I did their homework and we were fine.
That's cool. Mike, you know what the best part about my Dodge Aries K when I drove it to school? I could park it in the teacher's parking lot. Nobody thought a kid was driving that.
Right.
Adam, do you actually know how many cars you've had over your lifetime? There must be a ton.
Yeah, I bought one, two. My first one I actually bought was an 85 Turbo Coupe, a Thunderbird from my brother, and he overcharged me. Yeah, I haven't had a big collection. I'm not like Jay. I don't have the budget and or the room. But the nice thing about mine is I don't have to buy a lot of them because I'm still part of the Motor Press Guild, so I can call up and go, hey, what's in town, and I can drive stuff for 3 days and stuff. It's great. They
Wait,
gave me.
what is that? I need to understand. You're part of a guild that you can just borrow a car whenever
No,
you
they
want?
have press cars. So because I was on Top Gear, they have press cars, which means that you can get a car for 3 days to do reviews and stuff. Like I would get the cars that I was reviewing on the show for a day so I could get familiar with it, see what I liked about it, see what I didn't like about it. So here's what I used to do. We got the security thing here in the neighborhood. So every car I got, I would leave rubber. You know, I would drift a corner. So I'd be rubber all over this. And I remember what I did. I was like a serial killer taking trophies. I remember I would drive home. My wife, I said, see that? I did that in a ZR1 Corvette. She said, just keep driving. So I passed one of the guys, the security guys. They drive little Ford Escapes. And I came up and I'm like, you know, these tire marks all over the neighborhood with these kids. I mean, what are you guys doing? Can you just, is this what I'm paying for? I mean, if you guys can't stop these kids, look at it. Look at these tire marks. They're all over me. Yes, Mr. Ferrara, we're me. Yes, Mr. Ferrara, we're sorry. You know, just saying. You might want to keep your eyes out. I don't know if you're sleeping in the car or not. I'm not going to judge you. All I know is I'm seeing tire marks I'd rather not say. They never caught me.
Paul, you need to hook up with that guild so you can impress your dates.
So check this out. When I worked at Nickelodeon, one of the producers and I would take the cars from the filming, like
right.
It was a rich school was the premise. So there was this gorgeous in 2006, this gorgeous 2006 Mercedes SUV. Mm-hmm. But he wanted to know. He had a question. Instead of asking who would get the speeding ticket if we ran a red light, he wanted to find out by having me run red lights in the middle of the night when we were coming home. Because eventually we would get a ticket and he wanted to know who it came, but he never wanted to ask because he didn't want anyone to ever think he was going to do it. Mm-hmm. So I'm 24, 25, and he would say, it's yellow, make it go, make it go. And we'd run these red lights in the middle of Encino at 2:30 in the morning coming home from a writing session. Mm-hmm. Eventually, here's what happens. One day the Teamster guy comes up to me, right? And he's 6'4", the whole thing. He's looking at me, goes, why does the Mercedes have four red light tickets? And I go, you'll have to ask, so-and-so, the executive producer. And he goes, okay, I guess we're just going to have to pay the 4 speeding tickets, aren't we? And so because no one actually owns the vehicle, right, Nickelodeon just pays the fine.
Yeah. Well, was there a picture of you driving it?
Well, yes, but by court, you can't actually use that against a person. I don't know if you knew that or not, because you can never actually prove it's them.
Because
a picture of you driving a car, I think that's pretty good proof.
Yeah, but in court of law, you actually can be said that's not me. So what happens is they make these deals with the DMVs because they have, it's a special thing. It's Hollywood, so they just pay these ridiculous amount of money for red light cameras.
All right. Yeah, I think they're gone now. They can't. The red light cameras pretty much are gone. You're not going to get a red light ticket anymore.
Yeah, because that's why. Because they couldn't use them for anything.
Yeah. Well, you got to learn. Like even when I went to buy my car, there's ways around the system. All right. So I went to buy my car. I remember I did the Tonight Show. I did the Tonight Show on a Thursday in December. It was out here when Jay had it, and I went down to the Mercedes dealer to buy my car on a Friday because not only was it a Friday, it was the end of the month and the end of the year. So you can get the best deal because they got to get everything out. It's like having an Audi on a Lexus lot. They don't want it. So I went in and I bought a lease return because I'm not going to buy a new car because that's the you lose 46% bang just driving it out. So my wife was looking and she's like, this is the car we should get. I go, no, they got AMGs. I'm not going to be rushed. I want to look around. It was the car we got. She was right. So we go in, we make a deal for the car. It was an 08 E350. So the guy says, blah, blah. We go back and forth. We do the dance and everything. So before we went in there, I stopped at the BMW dealer across the street. I looked up on the wall, and they got employee of the month. There's a guy named Michael. She goes, what are we doing? I don't want a BMW. I said, we're not getting a BMW. I just need to, come on, we can go. So we're sitting in there, and the guy says, okay, I can give it to you for this. I go, look, I'm spending this much money, all right? Michael across the street said he can put me in a 5 Series for this kind of money. All right, I'm writing a check today and I'm buying a German car. Am I putting your name on it or am I putting Michael's name on it? Guy gets up, goes, talks to the manager. My wife leans over to me like this and she goes, who's Michael? I go, I don't know who Michael is. He knows who Michael is. The guy came back with the manager. I got the deal.
Oh, you.
Yeah.
I need to take you for my next purchase.
But you got to buy it on a Friday. Buy it if you can buy it towards the end of the year. That's good. Pay cash. Be done with it. No payments. No nothing.
The greatest trick to buying a car is to just plant your feet in the ground, stare at them in the eye like they're a rhinoceros, and watch them fall.
Yeah.
And they will.
I just go like this. I go, look, this time is money. All right. You ain't gonna make any money off of me. Do you want to waste your time and dick around, or you want to get to the next guy that you can make some money off of? That's it. You just tell him. I'll give you $100 over tissue. That's it. Tissue's what they pay for. That's it. You're done. You get up, you leave.
What's going on with car buying right now? Like, can you actually go in and test drive a car, or are they?
From what I heard, I was listening to a couple of podcasts. From what I heard, the guys that go in, like, not only can you go, you got to make an appointment, and you go by yourself because the dealer doesn't want to be in the car with you. So you got to leave your car so you can test drive it by yourself and go. That's one of the I like the Autoblog podcast. I was listening to them, so that's what I heard. But yeah, you can go buy a car.
I think what I want to try is I test drive the car, and right as I'm getting out, I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, you got to buy it now. That's the thing about what's socially acceptable now in the time we're living is you can light a fart on fire. No one's going to say anything. You sneeze on someone, they're going to attack you like a Frankenstein villager.
Yeah.
So, Josh, we haven't looked at our comments at all, and we're almost out of time already, Adam.
Yes.
Can you believe
She goes
it?
like, Adam, which is her way of saying you haven't shut up once.
well, just to summarize, first of all, good news, everyone. No one can see my ear hair.
Excellent.
Oh, good.
Second, a lot of love for Saturns. We really struck a chord with.
You like the Saturn?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, we really struck a chord with the Saturn.
Yeah, I need to make that my new bit about me and my Saturn.
And and also some love for the Funny Bone. I think is it the Funny Bone? Yes. Or
In
no?
Albany?
Yes.
Oh, the Albany Funny Bone. Yeah.
You're not peeing till Albany.
Gosh, I hope they're watching. I've been to that club. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Just, I think maybe a year and a half ago. Not that long ago, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Upstate New York. I miss you. We'll be back soon. Hopefully. Right, Laura?
Yes. Can't wait to get to New York.
Yeah.
We have to go visit Barbara's grandmother. She likes to take us out for Brandy Alexander's and talk about her sex life in the
Really?
40s.
It's brandy and milk. Did I ever tell you the guys I did during the Truman administration?
Pretty much. That's lunch with Barbara's
Oh,
grandmother. Now I
you
know where
girls-
Barbara got it.
You don't know the love we had on VJ Day.
Grandma Ronnie from Queens.
Mhm.
She'll never see this. She doesn't watch the internets.
Oh
You know-
man, I was on Why Women Kill on CBS streaming last year with my friend Alicia Coppola, who took the class at Flappers Comedy Club and did stand up for the first time. So I go, Mom, I'm on the show. It's Mark Cherry. She liked Desperate Housewives. So I'm on the show with Lucy Liu and all these people. She goes, what channel? I go, it's not as good. What's the streaming? What do I got? It would have been easier for me to grab all the actors and just go to my mother's house and act it out. I had to buy her that Fire Stick because she likes Outlander.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now she knows how to do that. But other than that, she can't put an attachment in an email. She can't do anything.
Adam, tell us about, because we're coming up on time here.
Yeah, we got to
Right.
wrap it
Podcast that you're doing.
Oh, the Adam Ferrara podcast, 30 minutes you'll never get back. It's basically what I wanted to do. The best night's sleeps of my life was when I was a little boy and I would hear my parents and their friends downstairs laughing. So I wanted to capture that feeling. So it's me, my wife, my two friends. We open up the show. We talk about a topic. Then we have a celebrity guest come on for about a half hour. And then like any good group of friends, we talk about them when they leave. So that's what the show is. This week is Brad Williams. Back episodes have been Joe Buck, the sportscaster, Jay Leno, Edie Falco, Kevin James. Who else?
Anthony Edwards, right?
Anthony Edwards. That was great. I got to talk to Goose. Oh, I had Katie Coleman, the astronaut, on.
Oh,
She
wow.
spent 6 months in space. She lived in space, and she plays the flute. And she played the flute from space with Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull.
Nice.
I've done nothing with my life. Laura, I'm waiting for your pictorial spread to come out. You're just laying on the beach right now.
I know, she's kicking back. She looks comfy, doesn't she?
If you want to know the truth of the matter, I just got off work literally seconds before this, and I'm in my car.
You in
Yay,
your car?
work.
I thought you were like this. You're like, I'm over here. I want to get away from the turtle fart.
I'm in my car, just got off work, and this is so you don't see the inside of my car, which would be fine. All you would see is lots of shoes, to be honest, because
Right.
I take off. I literally carry shoes in my car for shows.
That's great. She drives the Chevy Imelda.
It's an SUV because you got to have room for all the shoes.
Sure. Your
It's another
technology's
Lexus.
great.
Best car I ever owned was a Lexus, so I bought another one.
You got that screen going on your phone? God bless you.
I have it on my computer.
I
Actually,
show pictures like this. Hi.
Laura, I'm so glad you're back to work.
What?
All right.
I'm so glad you're back to work.
Me too. 12 weeks of retirement. At least I was out of work in 2 professions. I have 2 jobs, and I'm not working in either one. But yeah, I started work this week. So
Yay.
God bless you.
You have a
All right,
physical therapy tip for us?
yes, wear a mask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was at the auto show.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
That's the prototype that became the Ford Mustang.
That is gorgeous.
Wow. Hey, do you know a trivia question? What was the original term, the original pony car?
64 Ford Mustang.
That's right. Yeah, I knew you
At the
would.
World's Fair in Queens, right by your grandmother's house.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
I don't want to say anything, but Lee Iacocca is a friend.
I want a GTO. That's my goal.
67 is my favorite year.
Yeah, I'd take
That's the year
64
I
to
was
67.
born. I mean,
What?
maybe.
What'd you say?
That's the year I was born.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Look good, baby.
All right. So, Paul, what's up? Any news for the university before we skedaddle out of here?
Yes, all
This
of
is the
our,
car I want. This is the
What is-
car I want. See if I
Hold
We
can-
up.
can't see it, Laura.
Go
I'm trying to
this
figure
way.
out where I got to put it.
This way. This way. This way. Up, up, up.
You guys, we
There
got
you go. That's a GTO. I saw it.
Yeah, it's a beauty. 64 GTO. That's what I
64
want.
hood scoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the hood scoop.
Yep.
All right, you two get a breakout room, okay? Why
All right,
don't
I like the 67 because I
All right.
like the stack lights. Paul, what do we have coming up?
Well, Adam, I'm glad you asked. We have a lot of writing classes. We have a sketch comedy taught by Hugh Fink, who wrote for Saturday Night Live.
I love Hugh. Tell Hugh I said hello. I haven't seen him in years.
Adam,
He's got a great bit about the third base coach.
Bobby boy.
Adam, every time I bring up his name to a comedian, everyone wants me to be like, tell Hugh I said hi. Everybody loves him. And then we also have Gabe Abelson's late night writing class.
Tell Gabe I said hello. He wrote for Letterman.
I'm the only person on staff who hasn't won an Emmy. That's it. I run the damn thing, and I am the only one who hasn't won an Emmy.
Yeah, but you got 4 speeding tickets.
And then, right, but I got 4 speeding tickets. Also, we have our sitcom writing class taught by Steve Troutman, who, of course, is a member of...
I don't know Steve at all.
No, but he's a member of the WGA Committee on Education and Writing for Young Writers, so lots of great stuff coming up through that. And then we do have daily workshops. We're having a new workshop just for fun at the end of July for those who are interested in working clean. We're starting a new class. It's a one-day called Working Clean to Make Some Green.
That's
And-
great.
I was hoping you would. I think you should call it "Clean Up Your Fucking Act."
Yes. Well, I originally wanted to call it the C word, clean comedy, but I decided to stay a little more okay on that.
I think you call it the C word if you spell it with a Q like Chaucer.
I like that. I have a dry bar special coming out in July, and so it's one of those things where I kind of want to be able to walk people through it because a lot of people are asking me how do I get a dry bar special, and their opening joke is about their genitals. So I'm kind of like, hey, let's step away from that and talk about some other stuff. So it's kind of a nice way for comedians who are looking for an opportunity to maybe potentially get a dry bar special or something down the line, corporate work, things like that.
Cool. Well, can I just say how much I love the club? I thank you guys so much for inviting me. It's one of my favorite clubs, and I'm glad to be on it. So check it out. They got all kinds of stuff going on there. Drive your car. It's fun.
We're going to open soon, and hopefully, Adam, you will be one of our first headliners that we have come back.
I would love to. I'm coming back for the salmon. Tell Jeff I said hello.
Oh, I will. Jeff will be so excited. We miss him. Hey, we've cleaned up the club quite a bit. So, and just a little note on some things because everyone's been calling and asking when we're going to be open, We will open when the CDC says we can open. We want to be safe. Please wear masks so we can stop this thing, and also support us in any way you can. Oh, the music started playing. Thanks, Josh. So that means we're wrapping it up. But please go to flapperscomedy.com. Follow us on social media at flapperscomedy and buy a ticket to a show. Buy a gift.
Saturday at 7. Buy a ticket to Saturday at 7.
Every night we've got shows. So, and
I'm on the show Saturday at 7 with Karen Wojtowski.
Adam did the show. We're live. We're open. Thanks everyone for joining us. See you next week.
Love you guys. Be safe.